Hello guys, it is Shelly with AB Family Graphics. I finally got this video put together over several days. I am making my Beetleman tumbler and I'm taking pictures in this video. I'm taking pictures for my website. Thank you to my daughter who let me use her cell phone, since I didn't think about the fact that I had to record it and take pictures for my website. So as you see, I just literally, Mike, my husband, painted that and it just says AB Family Graphics. I put some tissue paper down and I put the cup up. Yes, it comes with a plastic lid and a straw, but I just need the actual tumbler itself because we have a picture of the lid that we can put with it. Here I am taking pictures with flash, without flash, with the lights on, without it, just to see what is going to look best on our website. So it's like a whole photo shoot for each tumbler. But on our website, it looks a little bit more professional. But as you see, it's just a painting sitting on my table. And here I am just taking pictures of all different angles, giving my daughter her phone back, turning on my ring lights. I'm like, what am I doing today? I think I'm talking to my daughter. There we go. I was like, I'm talking to my daughter, doing the things. So here I am sanding the bottom. The bottom seemed a little rough from the glitter. So I took some sandpaper and just lightly sanded the edges. So that way we can get a smooth bottom. Or like what my husband calls it, the butt. A smooth butt on the tumbler, because that's the tumbler's butt. So here I am feeling it, just making sure it's all nice and smooth. I also get some rubbing alcohol and paper towels and I wipe it all down. Because when you're sanding stuff, you get, the epoxy, like, scrapings or residue on it. So I'm just sitting here trying to make sure it's nice and clean, because when I go to spatter it or epoxy it, you don't want these little shavings from the sandpaper or fuzzes or anything to get on the cup. The cup does get wiped down with 99% rubbing alcohol during each and every step, and then obviously at the end I do sanitize it and wash it in hot water. And we also recommend you wash your cup before you use it when you get it in the mail. So here I am probably putting my sandpaper back and getting ready for the next step. I wanted something different for the tumbler, so I thought maybe I could spatter it with something. So here I am getting acrylic paint and glow powder, and I'm mixing it up in like a little medicine cup. You can buy those on Amazon for a couple dollars. I think you can get like 200 of them in a pack. Here I am putting glow powder. I'm running out of glow powder, so I'm like trying not to use so much of it. So I have to buy some more. In fact, when I get off of here, I'm going to put an order in for more glow powder, because I got a couple orders for this cup already. So here I am mixing it. Oh, that's what I had to do. I'm going to get better with these voiceover guys. I just didn't take the time to cut things out. So anyway, I'm in the kitchen because I'm adding a little bit of water because it's acrylic paint. It's thick. You're not going to be able to fling it at the cup as easily. So I added a little bit of water to kind of liquefy it. So I'm using a paper towel, even though I'm doing it off camera, and I'm smacking the paint off of the popsicle stick so I can see how, I don't know the word, not durable, but you know what I mean, see how the velocity of this paint water mixture is going to come off of a paintbrush and how thick or gunky it's going to be. So this is me just testing it before I go and get the paint tin out and sit on the floor and do all the things. So here I am like, okay, that's good. That's enough water. It's liquidy enough. I can fling it. Here I am on the floor in my little paint tent thing. We bought this on Amazon. It's just to keep anything, paint. I don't spray paint anymore in my home, but I use acrylic paint now. But back in the day, I used that spray paint stuff, but it's really good to spatter so that you don't get, paint on your walls or anything like that. So we're protecting our house this way. So here I am just sitting next to the paint tumbler, trying to fling this paint around. And this is how I do my blood spatters too on my tumblers as well, but that's with alcohol ink. And of course my phone is dying. Anyway, that's with alcohol ink and various other things to get my blood color. But I do the same technique. You just dip a paintbrush. That's why it's all red on the handle, because that paintbrush has been very well used and loved. But you just dip it in the mixture and you just smack it. You just smack that thing. And you just fling it at the tumbler. Sometimes you can make slashing movements to make a long slash line. But I just kind of wanted to do little spurts, little spritz, you know what I mean? Little splatters, not too big. So here I am just carefully trying to turn it without touching it and make sure that the top of the tumbler gets some of that spattering stuff on it. And I have, surprisingly, I did fast this up so that you guys don't have to see. I think it was like 13 or 14 minutes total of me sitting here trying to fling this paint all over the tumbler. And I was a little worried because I didn't like it, and I was just like, trust the process, Shelly, just trust the process. Because there's some tumblers that I think I have a good idea and then it turns out to be crap. And then there's tumblers that I think look like crap and actually turns out to be a good idea. So here I am getting messy because we know I'm a messy crafter. My husband doesn't understand how I get epoxy and things across the room. As you see, here we are, we're cleaning. Had to keep this in my video. Clean, clean, clean. Rubbing alcohol, paper towels, wiping my silicone mat off because I used that in my paint tent because I did not want the tumbler, the rim of the tumbler, to sit on the paint tent because it's filled with paint and other things, alcohol inks and acrylic paints and all kinds of things. So I used my silicone mat and then I wiped it off. And I did not film the second step, but I'm going to explain it here. Well, for one, I'm sitting here and cleaning up some of the spatters with rubbing alcohol, paper towel, and then I manually dab on some spatters that didn't hit the cup to kind of even it out. But all in all, at the end of the day, these spatters did not glow well. And me and my husband both are owners of my company. We do quality control and we trust each other's judgment. And my husband had came home from work and he tested it with the black light. I also tested it in the video with the black light. And it just wasn't glowing the way that I wanted it. And he confirmed, yeah, it's just not up to our standards at AB Family Graphics. So if I'm going to advertise the spatters glow, they really need to glow, you know? So my husband had an amazing idea to use this body paint that we have that we not used other than for our tumblers. Because we were painting a message on our tumbler one time, on a customer's tumbler. It was like a customized tumbler, right? And he said, well, we have that glow body paint. Use the purple, add a little bit of water to it, and it should glow perfectly because it's meant for black lights. It's meant for UV light. So I did not film it because it's just the same process. What I did was I used a paper towel and rubbing alcohol, and I wiped off these spatters, which I know it's kind of a waste, but my husband wasn't home when I was doing this. So I waited for it to dry and for him to come home, and he confirmed what I thought, that it just wasn't glowing enough. So I wiped them off, and I repeated the same process with the spatters like you see with the acrylic paint. So here I am with our black light because we always do quality control. We never ship out a tumbler. If we say it glows, it needs to glow every single time. And if it doesn't glow, we'll start the whole thing over if we have to. But you see the green glows where I, colored it green, the green glitter with the glow powder. But those spatters just don't glow the way I wanted them to glow. I even tried to show the cup, and it wasn't glowing as well as I really, really wanted to. And I think it's because I didn't add enough glow powder. But glow powder is actually kind of expensive. It's like $25 for 3 ounces of glow powder. So I was just sitting here talking to my kids. You can't hear them, but I'm sitting there it doesn't look right, does it? And they said, yeah, it looks a little different. My middle son said we should clean off these spatters from the green drips because that's kind of throwing it off a little bit. So I'm just sitting there talking to my kids because they also are getting old enough to weigh in. So here is the body paint, the glow body paint. I still did not 100% liked it because something about the spatters seemed off. It looked smeary. And I'm not a fan of it. I really am not a fan of this. But I asked my friend who I'm making it for if they liked the spatters, and they said yes, so I kept them. If I had it my way, I would have wiped it off if it was for me personally, but it's not for me. It's for a friend of mine. But as you see, they glow much better than the acrylic paint. But the thing is, in the container, it looked more purple. But then when I spattered it, it kind of gives it a fuchsia or magenta, like a purple pink. But as you see, the neon UV body paint, it's darker, but on the cup it looks pink. And I didn't add anything to it but a little bit of water to get it to be liquidy. All in all, it's not my jam, I'm going to be honest, but my friend likes it, so we kept it. And I did take pictures of it for my website so that I can give other customers an option for this spattery stuff. But we sell it both ways. I also show green because we also have that body paint in green in case anyone wants to put green spatters. I can add green spatters to the cup. So I did clear spray it with acrylic clear spray because it's paint, and if you wipe epoxy on the tumbler, you risk wiping all that body paint off and smearing it. So I did allow 3 coats of acrylic clear coats on the tumbler first, and then I mixed up the epoxy and I poured it on the tumbler. So I'm very particular about the epoxy, and so I'm just making sure I get every little crevice possible, every little drip. I'm also still being very careful not to rub this body paint off, even though it does have acrylic clear coat on it. But I'm just taking my time with it and making sure that the epoxy is everywhere, all up and down the cup, the butt of the cup, the bottom, all up and down it, running my finger, because you can feel, it's hard to explain, you can feel when the cup doesn't have that epoxy on it, because your finger kind of gets caught. It kind of stops running, gliding as easily. So I just make sure every part of it is fully doused in this epoxy so that it can dry. And there's not much more to say about it. Just I'm epoxying it and making sure that I'm getting all of it even on the cup. You also want to make sure it's all evenly done, because if it pools or there's a puddle of it and it's not flat and thin and evenly dispersed, you're going to get a bubble in the epoxy. So I'm just sorry you see my big head, but I'm just making sure that there's no spots that aren't, sealed in, and that there's, epoxy on every side. I also need to clean up my area. I'm well aware that I'm a messy crafter and I need to wipe things down. Sorry, and I have our laptop on the turners over there, which I should not have. But things happen. We're in a small space, so we make things work. Here I am just making a coaster. I got new molds. I used glitter, kind of like a pure color. Yeah, a pure color, Shelly. A white pearl color is what I used to make it glittery. And then I was just going to do little, tiny little parts of blood, but I was just like, you know what, we're gonna really go for this. We're gonna go for it good. And I use a couple more squirts of alcohol ink. I believe that color is crimson. That's such a good color for blood. So I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. Instead of tiny little drips, we're just going to mix it all together. So it is a shimmery pearl, glittery, bloody coaster. And it's not really specifically for anyone. We usually throw them in free when you order a tumbler of ours. My kids are getting to the age that they're starting to experiment with the molds, because they like doing these types of things. So don't be surprised if you get a mold, or not a mold, a coaster in your tumbler, because my kids like to do that, and it's free of charge. I sprayed it with rubbing alcohol because it pops the little micro bubbles in the epoxy. So I use a little spray bottle of 99% rubbing alcohol, and it just pops any of the tiny little bubbles on the coaster. Here I am just mixing more blood, popping more bubbles, and cleaning up. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will show you in my next video when it's completely done.